Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Welcome back to my channel. This is Ghulam Rasool. I always analyze the editorials or any big news and analyze critically, evaluate the ideas, opinions, and give my own opinion as well. But I'm a big supporter of justice, you see. I stand for justice, and I love to support the largest party in Pakistan, with PTI. I love Imran Khan, who is most respected, most honorable, and most believed personality and leader, in real sense of term. I love him to be the Prime Minister of Pakistan and solve the problems of Pakistan. You see, today I have this Dawn newspaper editorial, and it is dated 2nd September 2022. Impact on industry. Why not? There would be an impact on industry. Industries are closing down. Industries have shut down even. There is tax on industry. There is no export from the industries. So they have to import, and the dollar is soaring high. These companies cannot pay, and these companies have to close down. They cannot hold the labor force. You see, they cannot pay the labor force. Therefore, the impact is so massive. Impact is so severe that the industries must close down. Let's read about the editorial, what the editorial offers us. I would read in English and also translate into an easy English, because if I translate it into Urdu language or any other language, the purpose of reading Dawn newspaper will not be served, to say. Okay, let's start paragraph by paragraph. I hope it works, but it does not. It seems not to work. Okay, we will see that. The economic picture emerging in the midst of the extensive devastation caused by this year's unprecedented monsoon rains and flooding in vast parts of the country is very similar to one seen during the COVID-related restrictions in 2020. So the transition is the economic picture. You see the economic picture now, which is coming up, and during these devastations, you see the destructions caused by this unprecedented, matchless monsoon rains, which have never been this so before. We have never seen this before, and in the vast parts of the country, in very large parts of the country, it's similar. That can be compared to the devastation caused during the COVID-related, restrictions or bans or lockdowns in 2020. So the damage is same, what the editorial suggests. Let's go to the second. I'm trying to pick up all, but it's not picking it up. Why not? It does. Yes. No. Okay, one line. While the demand destruction may not be as intense or across the board as one induced by the global pandemic, I'm so sorry for this, my inability or the computer problem. Okay, while the demand destruction may not be as intense or across the board as one induced by the global pandemic, the deluge triggered by climate change shows that the economy is going to slow down significantly in the near to medium term. That car makers, tractor manufacturers, and steel producers are already temporarily shutting down their plants because of shrinking demand is just one sign of how the economic landscape is shaping up. Okay, while there's reduction in the demand destruction may not be intense. Okay, that the reduction is not as intense across the board throughout the country. You see, as one induced by the global pandemic, though we cannot compare the destruction by global pandemic with that of floods. So So the deluge triggered by climate change, this flood which has been caused by the climate changes in the climate, so that is evident that the economy is going to shrink or is going to get down or plummet prominently in the near future. The car makers, tractor industries, or steel producers are for the time being, they are closing down their plants, their industries, because of the reducing or diminishing, you see, demand. There is no demand, there are no orders from the people, from the other industries. This is one of the reasons, you see, because of which the economic landscape is, turning up or shaping up. This is what is going to happen. The words are, you see, written. You can read them, pick up the pen, pick up the book, pick up any notebook, write these words. These words are very important for you, for your exams, for your preparation, for understanding, you see, the news report. Sorry, it's not working. Okay, let's go like this. The impact of the reduction in demand will not remain confined to large industries. It will soon spread to small and medium-sized industries and other businesses too. You see, the effect of this diminishing in demand, diminishing, or the reduction in demand will not be limited only to the big industries, biggest industries. It will go on, continue to smaller industries or cottage industries, medium-sized industries, all kinds of businesses. There's colon used. I'll show you this one, colon. Why do we use the semicolon? Sorry. Why do we use the semicolon? When we don't want to use the full stop, we want to continue the idea, or we do not want to use the and, because in order to make two sentences or compound sentences, but the writer wants to continue with the one sentence. He is using the semicolon. Okay. The torrential rains and flash floods have ravaged the country at a time when the economy was already facing strong headwinds, and the government was taking measures to stabilize it under IMF oversight and putting curbs on imports, including industrial raw material and spare parts, to close the burgeoning trade gap and hold down the expanding current account deficit. You see, torrential rains, the rains from the sky, these very heavy rains, flash floods, the floods caused by rain, so heavy rains, severe rains, and causing floods have destroyed, damaged the country during the time when the economy was facing the economy was going down, was facing lots of problems, and government was taking measures. I don't agree with this sentence. What the government was taking measures? Economy is now down to zero, but the inflation rate is so high, people cannot live. People are living under the line of poverty, below the line of poverty. They cannot even afford two times meal, and they say that the government was taking measures to stabilize it by putting curbs, putting bans on importing something. So and the dollar was soaring high, petrol is high. You see, every day they keep on adding to the price hike, and they said they were controlling the price hike under IMF oversight. They were getting the loan from the IMF. This was the failure, you see, unintentional failure, but they are using this word oversight. They were ignoring this, that the IMF will not be able to bail them out, and they believe that they have been bailed out, and putting curbs on, and then curbs on the raw material and spare parts to close the burgeoning trade gap, the growing gap or beginning to grow or flourishing trade gap, and to hold down the current account deficit, the deficit in the economy, the foreign reserves deficit. They wanted to curtail it or wanted to control it, keep it under control. Let's go. With over 5,000 of roads and bridges swept away by flood waters across the country, the damaged communication infrastructure has made it even harder for companies to transport their goods for delivery from one place to another. Flood-related crop losses, which many analysts expect to be massive, are going to dampen demand and retard growth prospects for further during the present fiscal year. Over more than 5,000 kilometers of roads and bridges have been damaged, destroyed, washed away by the floods across the country, and the communication has been disrupted, damaged communication infrastructure. You see, the bridges have been damaged, roads have been damaged, so and it has become impossible for the transport of the goods given by the other countries or even by our own people, or from government or from other NGOs or from PTI. So the goods are not reaching the people, and from place to place, and the losses of crops due to the floods, and according to some analysts, are huge, or massive, colossal, large, and they are going to dampen the demand. They are going to diminish the demand. They are going to reduce the demand and delay the growth prospects further during the present fiscal year, during this year. As the economy struggles to recover from the liquidity crisis, the huge contraction in both public and private investment, together with the economic losses caused by the floods, is likely to delay the revival of growth for a period longer than initially anticipated. As the economy struggles, you see, is struggling to recover from the liquidity crisis. Well, liquidity crisis is when you have an asset and you want to sell it and you're facing problems. Nobody's going to buy it. So that's what the liquidity crisis. The huge contraction in both public and private investment has been reduced. You see that there has been a contraction, together with the economic losses caused by the floods, and they go hand in glove with the losses caused by floods. So that is going to delay the revival, restoration of the growth for a longer period now than previously it was anticipated, it was thought to be. On top of that, means apart from that, aside from that, in addition to that, okay, on top of that, it is feared that the recession period recession building up in developed economies will put further pressure on our deteriorating economic situation. On top of that, apart from that, it is feared, it is a scary part, that the recession is a period of temporary economic decline that is building up in developed economies. You see, Pakistani economy was developing in Imran Khan's period. Will put forth further pressure, that will be under further pressure, and on our deteriorating economic situation. Already our economic situation is damaged, is destroyed, it is worst. The impact of these factors on the economy is expected to be across the board. You see, with industry, agriculture, and construction taking the bigger hit. So the influence, the effect of these factors on the economy seems to be across the board, and is affecting every industry, like agriculture, construction industry. These are taking the bigger hit. The construction, there, how people are going to work. You see, no construction work seems to be in progress in near future, apart from the roads only, if it is taken. The reduction in the output of large-scale industry and major kharif crops will also significantly affect both small manufacturers and the services sector. The reduction in the output of large-scale industries which were producing, on larger scale, and major kharif crops will also be prominently affected, and small manufacturers will receive the blow as well. During the pandemic, the IMF as well as other multilateral lenders had stepped up to help poor nations like Pakistan and generously financed them to protect their economies and people from the impact of the global lockdown. At the same time, the government and the central bank here had implemented several initiatives to help businesses stay afloat, save jobs, and encourage investments. I don't agree with this sentence. During the pandemic, the IMF as well as the other multilateral lenders had stepped up to help poor nations. Okay, at that time they had stepped up. Okay, like Pakistan, and generously financed them to protect their economies, so that they can protect their economies and people from impact of the global lockdown. You see, there was global lockdown throughout the world, so to protect them. At the same time, government and central bank here had implemented several initiatives. They had also introduced so many schemes to assist businesses to be continued and save jobs and encourage investment. That is true, no doubt. But one thing is clear: IMF never helps anybody for the interest of the people, unless it is in the interest of IMF. You see, IMF always pressurizes the countries to raise the prices of items, so that people can, if they don't care about the people, whether they are in position to pay back, they will be able to pay the bills or not, but they don't care. They want their money back. They want the interest rate high. They want so that their money can be collected. The possibility of the world, including multilateral agencies, lending a hand in the rehabilitation of flood-affected populations might be a reasonable expectation, but will the IMF allow the government to digress from the conditions of its recently restored loan facility? Not likely. Well, okay, so the possibility of the world, including multilateral agencies, there are so many agencies, they are lending their help, okay, in rehabilitation, helping us to rehabilitate, to rebuild ourselves, rebuild our flood affected areas, affected population, and this might be the reasonable expectation. But will the IMF, question is, will IMF allow the government, will be lenient, allow the government to stay away from the conditions of its recently restored loan? You see, the conditions are attached with the loan facility. They have given the loan, they have the conditions. If they stay away from the conditions, such as increase of petroleum, increase in the electricity tariffs, and other items of sale, daily commodities, we don't know. Let's see. Okay, please subscribe to my channel, press the like button, and share my video. Thank you very much for watching, so that you can get the timely videos. See you soon. Take care.